We're rapidly approaching the business end of the EFL season. At this stage, every result is a crucial one. So with 11 matches taking place in the Championship, it looked like being a very significant Saturday. We begin in West London, where Gareth Ainsworth was taking charge of Queen's Park Rangers. Their third manager this season, he began his reign against Blackburn Rovers. Paul Walker was watching.
Here Blackburn handed an opportunity to ask a question of this Rangers defence. It's going to be Sorba Thomas to take this Blackburn free kick. Plenty of pace on it, glanced away only as far as Smodics, who connected sweetly enough, but drills it wide. Well, Smodics unable to add to the 3 goals that he has got this season. Blackburn just coming up short in the playoffs last season. Finished 8th, 6 points off the top 6. They were as high as 2nd in January, but fell away. So good switch out to the left, and Tyrese Dolan chopping inside, letting fly, and Gallagher! That wasn't in the script. Not today on Gareth Ainsworth's homecoming, but it's Sam Gallagher who gives Blackburn the lead in the capital, and his goal drought is at an end. Tyrese Dolan running at Kakai. His shot deflected kindly into Sam Gallagher, who wasn't going to miss an opportunity like that. Not the start that Gareth Ainsworth was looking for, but the perfect one for Blackburn. Johansson telling Kakai to get further wide. Kakai against Britton. Took a deflection, drops kindly, and Erabunam equalises for Queen's Park Rangers. It's the teenager who scores the first goal of the Ainsworth era. His first senior goal as well. And Loftus Road is jumping again. Osman Kakai with a cross. Blackburn just didn't deal with it. And Tim Erabunam was in just the right place. QPR back on terms. Callum Britton fends off the challenge of Jamal Lowe. Here's Travis, push through to Sammy Smodics, who's in! And in first half stoppage time, it's Sammy Smodics who restores Blackburn's lead. What a lift for Blackburn. Half-time looming, and they're back ahead. It's a peach of a ball through from Lewis Travis. Look at that. Outside of the boot. Sammy Smodics does the rest. That is exquisite from the Blackburn captain. And Sammy Smodics rolls it in. And it's Queen's Park Rangers 1, Blackburn Rovers 2. Rankin Costello, beautifully done. Opens up for Rankin Costello. Gallagher! He's got a second. It's Blackburn's third of the day. And it spoils Gareth Ainsworth's housewarming party. Blackburn create a 2-goal cushion in West London. Just 1 goal in 17 appearances for Sam Gallagher prior to this. He's now got 2 today. Brilliant, exceptional work from Rankin Costello. Just drags it inside, and he puts it on a plate for Sam Gallagher. He simply could not miss. Big job now for QPR to try and salvage something from this. Buckley onto Gallagher, Smodics onto Dolan. He's away here, Tyrese Dolan is to put the seal on it, and Dieng gets fingers on it to keep it out. Blackburn hungry for more. Rankin Costello trying to win the corner. He hasn't succeeded. Big save that from Sonny Dieng. That one goes in. It definitely is all over. Great Blackburn move again. And Dieng did just enough to keep it out. Floated in there by Johansson. Glanced on towards Adoma. Oh, it's a good chance. Just couldn't generate the power he was looking for. Flicked on by Dunn. No real power or direction from Albert Adoma. It is Blackburn's day in West London. It is defeat for Gareth Ainsworth in his first match in the Queen's Park Rangers dugout. It finishes Queen's Park Rangers 1, Blackburn Rovers 3.
Having seen their 10-point buffer on the playoffs eroded to just 4, Bramall Lane was nervy for the visit of Watford. And maybe anxiety gripped the players too. The first half was drab, without a shot on target, despite the best efforts of Keenan Davis and co. The Blades took until the second half to get going. Arnold Ahmedhodzic had an early sight of goal, but it soon became clear that this would be a game where the result would have to be ground out. Watford, unbeaten in 4, were bringing all the momentum into the contest, but had left their shooting boots at home. Davis's heavy touch prevented him from taking their big chance. Paul Heckingbottom had said that United would have to scrap their way through this one, and that they did. But there were moments of quality too. Tommy Doyle's quick feet led to a shot that Daniel Bachmann saved, as well as the follow-up from Ben Osborne. That was the pattern for most of the second half. The home side increasingly on top, but struggling to break down a resilient Watford. And when they did, the Blades found Bachmann in top form. Sander Berge also denied, as the Hornets dug in defensively. To get a goal, this game would need something sublime or something ridiculous. We got the latter. Following a United corner, Watford's Ryan Porteous nutmegged his own keeper, and Hamza Chowdhury couldn't prevent it from crossing the line. Funnily enough, Heckingbottom had said he wasn't bothered how his side get the points they need. He would have loved this goal then. Not the prettiest, but a vital one. The Blades grinding out a first win in 3.
With just 1 point from their last 3 matches, Carlos Corberán restored faith in Daryl Dike and gave the striker a start after coming off the bench in his last couple of matches. The decision paid off. 8 minutes in and the American finished off a fine move to give West Brom the lead. Dike had failed to score in his last 6 appearances for the club, but was clearly in the mood today. Corberán's selection justified, and the Baggies with their noses in front early on. Just 2 minutes later, they doubled their lead, and it was Dike on target again. West Brom pouncing on a poor defensive header from Paddy McNair and cutting through the Borough backline. The 22-year-old needed a couple of goes at it, but eventually steered the ball beyond Zach Steffen. Michael Carrick's side all over the place, and the Baggies keen to extend their unbeaten home run to 8 championship matches. Only 1 away goal had been scored at the Hawthorn since November, and the home side looked solid. Even when Marcus Forss had a sight of goal, Josh Griffiths made sure to keep his clean sheet intact. Carrick's side had scored 3 in each of their last 4 matches and would need to make it 5 on the spin for victory, but it never looked like happening. Dike should have completed his first ever hat-trick in English football. Quick feet opened up the opportunity to claim the match ball, but he couldn't beat Steffen. He did, however, catch McNair in the build-up, and the Borough player had to be stretchered off. West Brom made sure they took the win and the clean sheet thanks to a superb late stop from Griffiths. Substitute Isaiah Jones seemed certain to grab a consolation goal, but the stopper kept the score at 2-0, his first shutout since being recalled from Portsmouth. In the battle over the playoff-chasing managers, Corberán takes the points.
The toughest opening away assignment possible for Neil Warnock. The rest of the second tier have reason to remember the 5th of November. That's the last time Burnley were beaten in the league. Ashley Barnes had scored in the last 2 games. Hard to tell whether Anas Zaroury's deft delivery got a touch from the striker. Maybe just a faint one. We'll leave them to discuss. Vincent Kompany's Turf Moor table toppers up against Terriers, terrible on the travels. Huddersfield with the division's worst away record. Connor Roberts added to their misery. The hosts hadn't lost in 13 EFL matches going into this one. It wasn't proving an unlucky number. A season of smiles for the clinical Clarets continued. Johan Berg Gudmundsson with an assist there, and today's creator-in-chief for the leaders soon had another for Josh Brownhill. Top class, his team top flight bound. Brownhill's first since October, the home side just too good for their opponents. The table wasn't lying. Very different emotions on successive Saturdays for Mr. Warnock. There was no let-up as Burnley went in search of more. The goals have been coming from all areas. Ian Matson, who was later stretchered off with an injury, might easily have made it 4. The town boss couldn't conjure a way out of this particular predicament. He always needed a superhuman effort from his players if they were to build on their crucial victory 7 days previously. The visitors did their best to carve out a consolation. Danny Ward foiled by Arianet Muric. The last time Burnley suffered a championship defeat here, David Cameron was Prime Minister. Michael Obafemi kept the remarkable unbeaten home run going with a late leveller against Watford, and the former Southampton man was at it again in very different circumstances. The Yorkshire outfit with lots of work to do in their survival fight. Burnley, playing well and winning well, can do no wrong. Their cruise at the summit continues.
The Lions headed for the Potteries on the back of 2 strong results at the Den, having taken 4 points from the division's top 2. What could they conjure up on the road against a Stoke side who recorded a much-needed win themselves in midweek? It was the visitors who struck early. Not even 10 minutes gone, and Zian Fleming finding the route to goal. A classy goal from a player who is in flying form this campaign. Stoke were finding it tough to create anything too clear-cut in the first 45. I guess you could declare this a half chance as the ball found its way to Dwight Gale, who had a swing and a miss at this effort. This air kick, one of the only real sighters for Alex Neil's side. So far, not a lot to shout about for the fans who are wrapped up on a chilly afternoon at the Bet365. Millwall was searching for a 6th away win of the season, and one that would certainly go down as one of the biggest of the lot. And Stoke were dominating possession without creating too much. A Josh Laurent effort fizzed wide, a decent strike just lacking the required precision. The second half saw Millwall doing a fair bit of defending, but in fairness they looked exceedingly comfortable doing just that. It was a case of Stoke taking pop shots from range, which didn't carry too much threat for George Long. 3 points and high fives all round for Gary Rowett, who comes back to haunt his old club.
Still to come, we bring you all the rest of the action from the Championship.
Sunderland hadn't won at Coventry since 1985, and the Black Cats were again ruining their bad luck when captain Danny Bart's early header came back off the bar. Having taken his tally to 6 at Rotherham last weekend, Mark Robbins has challenged midfielder Jamie Allen to hit double figures this season. He moved a step closer thanks to some good work from top scorer Victor Gyökeres to set him up. Another trademark break into the box, rewarding his manager's faith. Tony Mowbray spent 19 months as Coventry boss during some trickier times in League One. His Sunderland side suffered their first defeat on the road since October in midweek. They appealed for a penalty when Amad Diallo's cross struck Luke McNally. Patrick Roberts played to the whistle, but missed a golden chance to level from close range. When Gyökeres fires on all cylinders, generally, so too de Cov. And in the final minute, Gustavo Hamer crossed for the Swede to mark his 100th appearance for the club with his 37th goal. His 15th in the league this season and 3rd in as many matches. Sunderland have a grudge match at home to their old boss Alex Neil next up, a player Neil signed on loan from Manchester United before joining Stoke. Diallo has come in for some criticism of late after a New Year's dip in form. So this impressive late consolation will at the very least help his confidence. It also continues Sunderland's run of scoring in 18 consecutive matches now.
Playoff-chasing Norwich welcomed a fourth-bottom Cardiff side seeking to continue their resurgence with a third straight win and clean sheet, having gone winless in 14 games before that. But the Bluebirds were behind here, Gabriel Sara's emphatic finish just after the half-hour mark. Norwich have shown significant improvement under David Wagner with 13 points in 7 games. And just 4 minutes after going ahead, the home side was celebrating again. Onel Hernandez setting up Marquinhos to give the Arsenal loanee a goal on debut. The teenager firing in, meaning both Brazilians were on target in a Brazilian first half from the Canaries. Norwich have scored at least 3 goals in all 4 of their wins under Wagner and looked set to keep that trend going when Adam Eder rounded Ryan Alsop, but the Irishman was unable to finish. After a barren run of 7 winless league games here at Carrow Road, the Canaries were now singing to a third straight home win and nearly had a stylish third goal here, Sara finding Hernandez, who in turn grazed the post. Cardiff are the Championship's lowest scorers this season, but did their best to set up a nervy finish late on as Aston Villa loanee Jadon Philogene hit the woodwork. The Bluebirds have now failed to score in 5 of their last 6 away league matches. A 5th win in 8 for Wagner's improving Norwich, who are reigniting their promotion push, the Canaries flying to just a place and a point outside the top 6.
Managers of contrasting fortunes met at St Andrews. John Eustace's Birmingham had lost 3 in a row. Robert Edwards had his Luton side eyeing a run at the playoffs. 2 minutes into the second half, Carlton Morris bagged his 13th of the season to keep the Hatters on course. Only Burnley have won more away points than Luton, and they looked set to add to the 28 points they'd already picked up on the road. There was a scare after taking the lead. Morris eventually had to go off after this challenge from Mark Roberts. The Blues player somehow remained on the pitch. Referee David Webb, well positioned, he decided this was only a yellow. It remained 11 v 11 and Birmingham sensed a chance to steal a point. But misfiring striker Scott Hogan had only scored once in his last 11 appearances for the club. That was from the spot. His header off the bar as close as the home side came to a goal. After his treatment at Watford, he can't help but feel happy for Edwards.
Two sides who lost last time out looking to get back to winning ways, and for the hosts it was the manager's son who answered his dad's call. Tom Ince picking up the ball on the edge of the area, bobbing and weaving his way past a defender, and his shot deflecting past Chris Maxwell. Ince declining to celebrate against his old club after his 8th goal of the season. That was the goal-mouth action for the first 45, and in the second half the hosts perhaps lucky not to be down to 10 men. A coming together in midfield and a fairly robust challenge from Amadou Mbengue left Jordan Thornley rolling on the turf. It was high, somewhat out of control, but ref John Brooks choosing leniency today. The Royals had to wait a while to double their advantage, but the second goal did come for Reading in the 70th minute. Yakou Meite was brought down in the area by Curtis Nelson, in behind the defence, and Meite going down after feeling the sustained attention from behind. The responsibility from the spot falling to the big man Andy Carroll, who stepped up and slotted past Maxwell. Carroll's 4th goal in 5 career appearances against the Tangerines. And Reading were in the mood for more. A couple of minutes later, Ince secured his 2nd of the game with a fine close-range finish. That coming after the marauding Meite's cross was only half cleared, Ince doing the rest to put the game beyond any doubt. A day just getting better and better for the hosts. There was time for Sonny Carey to grab a consolation with virtually the last kick of the game, but it was to be a miserable trip back up north for Mick McCarthy and Blackpool. A 5th straight away defeat for the Seasiders, who have now registered just 1 win in 17 games and remain joint bottom of the Championship.
Having not won a league game at Deepdale since November the 1st, Preston were desperate for a win against struggling Wigan. Needless to say, the last thing the under-fire Ryan Lowe needed was a Latics opener, especially one scored in this manner. Greg Cunningham with the ungainly own goal in the 27th minute. Another boost for Wigan, who are improving under Sean Maloney. With the home side booed off at the break and Deepdale gloomier than ever, Preston came out in the second half determined to lift the mood. The turning point came shortly after the interval, when a surging run from Daniel Johnson was ended by goalkeeper Ben Amos. Referee Thomas Bramall awarded the penalty. Wigan fans and members of the Goalkeepers' Union will feel that Amos was hard done by. Johnson took the spot kick himself and had the nerve not only for a stuttering run-up, but also a grand-standing celebration. He was right though. Suddenly the mood had changed, and within minutes Preston had a second goal. You'd have to go back 35 years for the last time you could see Tommy Cannon on ITV on a Saturday night. Here he and Preston were having the last laugh. The Everton loanee with his first goal for North End. It wasn't all smiles for Preston though. They'll be without Robbie Brady next week after his injury time sending off. The Irishman put his studs into the shin of Jack Watmough. It was spotted by a referee Bramall, who brandished a second yellow card. An unseemly end to an impressive second half performance from Preston, who recorded their first win in 6 League and Cup matches.
A technical area reunion here. Liam Rosenior signed by Nigel Pearson in 2010 during his stint as Hull manager. Rosenior started his playing career with Bristol City as well to add even more ex-employer spice to the occasion. In the opening minute, after good work by Anis Mehmeti, the away boss was relieved to see Mark Sykes thwarted by Newcastle loanee Carl Darlow. Only a point between these two championship cities going into this one. Much of the Bristolian brilliance came from Mehmeti. His ball into the box handled by Cyrus Christie, said ref Sam Barrett. The Tigers had kept 4 clean sheets in the last 5 outings, but the prospect of another shutout was in serious jeopardy. Naki Wells stepped up to repeat his 12-yard efficiency of the trip to Sunderland in the previous outing. Some nifty moves from Nigel. No wonder he was looking so happy. His Robins yet to lose in 2023. He almost had reason for the grin to turn into a grimace as Benjamin Tete hit an upright, the home defence uptight, until scrambling to safety. The Ashton Gate remained closed to the away team, who are now without a win in form.
So another good day to be a Burnley fan. Sheffield United are still hanging on to their coattails after securing that narrow win over Watford. Middlesbrough's defeat was also very good news for the Blades. The gap between Sheffield United and the playoff spots is back to 7 points. Borough and Watford aside, the rest of the playoff contenders all won, with Sunderland and West Brom also improving their standing. There wasn't much change in the relegation battle, with 8 of the bottom 9 sides all losing, and it could be even more. Rotherham play Swansea on Monday evening. The match of the day in League One was an extraordinary 7-goal game between Peterborough and Plymouth Argyle. Posh defeated the title chasers by 5-2. Elsewhere, Sheffield Wednesday set a new club record of 20 matches unbeaten with a 1-0 victory at Charlton. Barnsley, meanwhile, beat playoff rivals Derby by 4-1. That statement win sees the Tykes overtake Derby in the playoff places. Argyle's defeat has allowed Wednesday to extend a 3-point lead at the top, and they have a game in hand. Oxford United have slipped closer to trouble after a 3-0 home defeat to Bristol Rovers. Accrington were the only side in the drop zone to pick up a point. They drew with Burton. The goal of the day in League Two was a sweet one for Gillingham's Che Alexander. His volley against former club Wimbledon secured a 2-1 win for the Gills. Also in League Two, leaders Orient experienced difficulty at Grimsby. A penalty save by Lawrence Vigouroux helped them take a point. Carlisle had no such problems. They won 5-2 at Crawley. Fortunately for Orient, they have plenty of margin for error at the top. The gap between them and Carlisle is still 13 points. The O's are 16 clear of Northampton in 4th. At the bottom, 2 injury time goals for Hartlepool helped salvage a 3-3 draw against Walsall. But with Crawley possessing 4 games in hand, Hartlepool remain in relegation trouble. That's it for today. We'll leave you with the best of the action from another weekend of enthralling EFL football. From me, Dan Mason, and the rest of the team, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.